Alright, so this has been bothering me for a while. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. So let's just go ahead and hash it all out right now. What if Ethan Winters had joined the forces with Carl Heisenberg in Resident Evil 8? Obviously, there will be late game spoilers for Resident Evil 8 City Folk or whatever the hell it's called. So, early in the game's life cycle, we were led to believe that we all wanted to simp for one 10-foot tall vampire mama lady, Alcina Demetresque. But in reality, the one that we all wanted and didn't know we needed was this scruffy little champ over here, Carl Heisenberg. Now, I'm just going to say, I'm not bitter about the fact that the internet all of a sudden wants the long-haired, kind of rough around the edges guy who has anger issues and an affinity for sunglasses. It's cool. I'm not bitter, maybe a little. But anyway, this guy has just lighted up the internet with his charm and the emphasis he puts on the letter B in bitch. I mean, like, seriously, he like bold, underline, italicizes, does like the fancy first letter of a chapter font. It's like real Ulfric Stormcloak levels of bitch that he approaches. Really cool. Cool guy. Part of the reason why I think a lot of people like him too is because he actually extends something of a begrudging olive branch to Ethan later in the story. When you first meet him, you are, well, frankly stabbed by his magneto powers, a piece of scrap that was laying on the ground, but then he entombs you. He doesn't kill you, he entombs you and drags you to a council of Mother Miranda, who's sort of the head bitch in charge of this little village, and the four lords. The aforementioned tall vampire lady, this puppet master, some fish dude, and Carl, hereafter known as Heisenberg. So Mother Miranda says, okay, Heisenberg, since you were the one who caught him, he's yours to do with what you will. And what does he do? He just slaughters Ethan in cold blood in front of everyone. That's a lie. He actually slams the hammer down in front of you, tries to kind of get the adrenaline pumping, and tells you, you got 10 seconds, go, and gives you a head start. Now, yeah, he does put you in like this weird death trap, and yeah, all these lichens are hot on your tail, but if you play the game right, Ethan doesn't die. So you could make the argument that it was a very indirect method of killing, which I think Heisenberg even says was just more for the show than anything else. So, as you make your way through the game, it is apparent that you must charge through these four lords of this area to get to the end goal of putting your little baby Rose back together, which is the main focus after you watched your wife get, popped full of holes by Chris Redfield of all people. And when you finally do find, quote unquote, your baby, you find that she's just a bit-o baby, and you must find the other baby bits. Build a baby, if you will, here in this little village. So it's safe to say that Ethan, with everything he's dealt with, least not among them a hallucination of this weird, twisted baby abomination, he's a little what you would call emotionally compromised. And so by the time he gets done with Mr. Fishman, Heisenberg reaches out to him and says, hey man, you know what, we ain't got to fight. Here's the last flask that has your baby parts in it. Go there and then come see me and we'll work out a deal. And true to his word, the flask is where it is, where he said it was supposed to be. He's has the red carpet rolled out for him when he gets there, and here comes Heisenberg. There's no tricks, there's no traps, none of that. He literally sits him down in the chair and says, look man, here's what we need to do. I hate Miranda every bit as much as you do for reasons that are not that much different from yours. She took my dignity, she stole my me, and I want to get back at her for that. Now, he has used his factory to basically tankify a bunch of corpses, and it's a little strange where maybe he got all those corpses from, but they are corpses, not living people he's experimented with. So, there's that. But he does ask Ethan, look, team up with me. We'll get your baby back, we'll get rid of Miranda, and we can all ride off in the sunset happily ever after. And what does Ethan do? Nah, I don't want to do it, Heisenberg. I'm not joining forces with you. And Heisenberg even says, hey, you sure about that? You You don't want to know what's down in that hole behind you there. Yeah, it's a guy with a propeller for a face. So, Ethan again doubles down. Nah, I'm not doing it. He uses a lot coarser language than this, but whatever. Trying to keep it semi PG 13. Heisenberg says, alright, buddy, your funeral. Kicks him down a hole and basically is going to let the factory deal with him. Again, very indirect method of dealing with Ethan. Ethan makes his way up to the factory, finds Heisenberg again, who is, by the way, just absolutely flexing, walking down a staircase made from his own floating metal. He then assumes his weird necromorph form, which is basically a Gundam, and swats Ethan away, saying, don't come back. He's not directly taking a shot at Ethan. He's doing everything but outright killing him. Well, at this point, obviously, Ethan meets with Chris Redfield and learns that the real Mia is alive. The Mia that was shot was actually Mother Miranda because she's a shapeshifter. And then you get in the tank and you go fight Heisenberg. And it's a cool fight, but it's kind of depressing because at the end, after all this swagger that Heisenberg has given you, he sounds just completely distraught. In his death throes, he's not really concerned about how you, Ethan, you've ruined everything. He's not a simp for Mother Miranda like the rest of them are. He's not a blind, loyal follower. He hates her. He wanted to get her as much, if not more, than you do, Ethan. You just want your baby back. He actually wants to ground some beef with her. And you took that away from him. But he's not even that mad at you so much as he's like, I was supposed to end her. And he doesn't get that chance. And it's almost kind of sad. Because think about it. Where was Heisenberg going? He was on his way out of the factory. He swept you away. He wasn't saying, let's go fight. He said, hey, go down that hole, don't come back. Go on somewhere. I'm done talking to you. He was probably on his way to go kick Miranda's ass. The soldats in the factory that Chris, boulder-punching asshole Redfield, blew up were probably about to be deployed to come deal with the Lycan bodyguards that Miranda had. Miranda was probably in the process of doing the sort of ceremony that brought Rose back, because you can kind of tell not a lot of a time had elapsed. And he was probably on his way to go do battle with her. You, Ethan, maybe you could have ridden in like a little tank that Heisenberg could have put together around you, and y'all could have gone. Ethan could have met Mia, because remember, Chris finds Mia, and Mia knows that Ethan is still okay, even after everything happens, but they never meet. Ethan, after he deals with Heisenberg, Miranda pops up, monologues, rips his heart out, shows it to him before he dies, and then he's like, oh wait, I'm actually already something of a mold zombie, let me come back. And so he basically comes back on borrowed time just to sort of fall away as sort of this moldy decay. That may not have happened. He might have been protected. Hell, Heisenberg might have fought Miranda while Ethan was able to go get his baby, who had drained Miranda's power to make her vulnerable. Could have taken his baby and his wife and gone on somewhere. Now, maybe you wouldn't have had the talk and sort of the understanding with Chris, but who's to say Chris wouldn't have been there like, oh man, Ethan, what the hell? And then Ethan could have been all like, nah, Chris, really, Heisenberg's cool, man. You should exonerate him of all his weird crimes and activities. And Chris had been like, cool, man. And then everybody would have been all right. Heisenberg kind of got his revenge. Ethan could have, freaking lived and had his baby and his wife. And Chris, wouldn't have had to do that really super dangerous mission at the end of the game because, everything wouldn't have been going to hell. It would have been cool. And we won't get to see it. And it's sad, too, because I'd like for Heisenberg to get some redemption. And he probably won't, unless there's some DLC or like a what-if story. I don't know. Even though the Megamycete thing is gone, Rose is confirmed to be a little mole baby. So maybe there's still a little bit of Heisenberg's essence in there. Maybe he'll make an appearance later as something of a more sympathetic character. I don't know. It's painful to me to see a character who actually was, while obviously far from a good guy, still this morally gray character who wanted basically the same thing you wanted, but you just didn't want to play nice with him, and you foiled all his plans to basically be buried in the just twisted depression of, I didn't want this, I don't want this, I have a way out, But this dude over here, who I tried to work with, completely just screwed me up. And here I am, and now I have nothing to show for it. And I am an exploded piece of scrap metal now. That's me. I'm not the first person to say this or theorize on this. What do you think? Maybe you hate Heisenberg. Maybe you're one of like the few people on the internet who hate Heisenberg. I don't know. It just makes me sad that that could have happened. It could have been a happy ending if you had actually sided with the boss character. But no. Instead, we got a kick-ass fight, and then it was all downhill from there. And so ends my rant on this.
Dun 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 dun.